Every single time you go online, you leave behind a little trace, a kind of digital ghost. Well, today we're going to dig in and uncover the hidden history of that ghost. We're going to find out exactly how it came to be.
So let me just start by asking you something. What if every single click you've ever made still existed? I mean, every Google search, every like, every, late-night impulse buy, what if it was all recorded somewhere, creating this permanent shadow version of you? It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But believe me, it is way closer to our reality than you probably think.
Well, there's actually a name for this whole thing. We call them digital echoes. Just think of it like this. It's the data trail you're always leaving behind, the sum total of everything you do online. And it's all coming together to form a digital identity that, well, it's always growing, always evolving with every single click you make.
Okay, so to really get how we ended up here, we've got to rewind, go all the way back to the beginning, because the internet, it wasn't born this commercial giant that we know today. No way. Its origins were, believe it or not, way more idealistic. It was built for a totally different reason.
And this quote right here, it really hits the nail on the head. It gets to the core philosophy of that early internet. The pioneers, the people who built it, they pictured this digital space for collaboration, not for profit. It was all about connecting researchers, sharing knowledge, for free, building a real community built on trust. Commerce? Selling stuff? That wasn't even on the radar. It wasn't part of the conversation at all.
And the pace back then, it was a really slow burn. I mean, think about it. Over decades, these foundational pieces were carefully put into place. You had ARPANET kicking things off in the 60s, then email, which was like the first killer app, shows up in the 70s, then the domain name system in the 80s made things a bit more user-friendly. The whole time, the focus was just on function and connection. It wasn't about speed or making it massive.
But then, boom, everything changed. That quiet, kind of nerdy academic community of the early internet, it was about to collide with the loud, chaotic world of commerce. And this was the moment, the pivotal moment that put us on the exact path to the web we all use today.
And wow, the difference was just stark. The whole goal shifted. It went from let's share information to let's generate revenue. The user base, it exploded from this tiny group of academics and researchers to, well, literally everyone. The entire model just flipped on its head. It went from a nonprofit, collaborative experiment to a for-profit, competitive marketplace. The very DNA of the internet was being rewritten in real time.
So remember that slow burn we talked about? Yeah, forget that. The 90s were a straight-up explosion. First, the World Wide Web and easy-to-use browsers show up, and suddenly, the internet is for everybody. Then, the first banner ad appears, and that just opened the floodgates. By the late 90s, the dot-com boom basically cemented the web's new identity as the world's biggest marketplace. And just like that, the race was on.
So, you might be wondering, what does this whole commercial shift have to do with me, with my digital echoes? The answer is everything. This is the exact moment your personal data enters the story. And it's not just some side effect, it's the main event.
And this whole situation, it forces us to ask a really fundamental question, right? We get to use most of the web for free. Social media, search engines, it's all free. But come on, we all know nothing is truly free. So what's the real price we're paying? What's the actual currency we're using for all these services?
The answer, it turns out, is shockingly simple. In this new commercial web, you're not the customer. Your attention, your activity, everything you do online, your digital echoes, that's the product. That's what's being bought and sold.
Okay, so how does this whole machine actually work? Well, it all starts with you just doing your thing, browsing the internet. But as you click and scroll, these little invisible trackers, they're logging your every move. And over time, all that data builds up into this incredibly detailed profile of who you are, your interests, your habits, even what you might buy next. And what happens to that profile? It's used to target you with super personalized ads.
And just how valuable is all that data we're creating? Get this. The global digital ad market, which is fueled entirely by our digital echoes, is worth more than $600 billion. That's a mind-boggling number. A whole economy built on the clicks and scrolls of billions of people. Man, that is a long, long way from that small, non-profit web back in the 80s.
Okay, so that brings us right up to today. We've traced the history, we've seen how it all happened. But what does it actually mean for you and me right now as we're living our lives online?
So just take a second and think about all the different threads that make up your own digital echo. I mean, it's not just one thing, is it? It's your search history, which reveals all your private curiosities. It's your social media activity, showing who you connect with and what you believe. And of course, your purchase and location data, which paints an incredibly detailed picture of your life offline. And when you put all of that together, you get a digital portrait that might just know you better than you know yourself. And listen, this isn't just about getting ads for shoes you looked at once. This echo can actually influence things like loan applications, insurance rates, even your job prospects. It's basically this invisible resume that follows you absolutely everywhere.
All right, so let's zoom out. What are the big takeaways here? First, the internet started out as this really cool, non-commercial collaborative project. But that all changed in the 1990s when the for-profit model took over. That shift is what created your digital echo, that data trail we've been talking about. And today, that data powers a gigantic digital advertising economy. And maybe most importantly, this echo creates a persistent digital version of you, a version that kind of lives on even after you've closed your laptop for the night.
And that really just leaves us with one final thought. One last question to chew on. Your digital echo, it's like your shadow. It follows you everywhere you go online. So now that you know how it was created and you know what it's being used for, what story is yours going to tell?